When we think about our skeleton, we usually picture this static, unchanging frame, right? Something that's pretty much done growing by the time we're adults. But what if I told you that's completely wrong? Today, we're going to dive into how your bones are actually alive and constantly changing, which leads to a really interesting question.
Is your skeleton set in stone? Absolutely not. Not even close. In fact, your bones are in a constant state of flux. It's this lifelong process of renewal, making it one of the most dynamic, most active systems in your entire body. It's pretty wild when you think about it.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about what makes your skeleton a living thing. Then we'll meet the remodeling crew, the cells doing all the heavy lifting. We'll find out what sparks their growth, get into the nitty-gritty of tension versus compression, and finally wrap up with how you can actually apply this force yourself.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, your living skeleton. We're going to discover just how dynamic your bones really are. Seriously, it's time to ditch that old idea of bones being just inert scaffolding.
You look at an X-ray like this, and it seems so still, right? But the truth is, that bone tissue is like a bustling city. It is a living, breathing organ that's constantly at work, breaking down old bits and building brand new ones. And this isn't just something that happens when you're a kid, it's a process that goes on for your entire life. And this whole amazing process, it's called bone remodeling. Think of it as a permanent renovation project. Old bone gets cleared out, and fresh, new bone gets put in its place. This is absolutely crucial. It's how your skeleton fixes itself, how it gets stronger under stress, and how it stays tough your whole life.
So you might be wondering, who is actually doing all this work? Well, it turns out there's a highly specialized team of cells in charge. Let's go ahead and meet the bone remodeling crew.
Okay, so picture this. Inside your body, there's this non-stop high-tech construction project going on. And it's not just one type of worker, oh no. It's a super coordinated team of 3 different specialists, and each one has a very specific, very important job to do.
First on the scene are the osteocytes. These guys are the sensors, or you could think of them as the project managers. They're literally embedded deep inside your bone matrix, and their whole job is to feel for any pressure or stress. The second they sense something, they're the ones who make the call and tell the rest of the crew, hey, get over here, work to do.
So once the osteocytes sound the alarm, in come the osteoclasts. This is your demolition team. Their mission is simple: break down and dissolve old, worn-out bone tissue. They're basically clearing the site to make way for a brand new structure.
And right on the heels of the demolition team, you've got the osteoblasts. You guessed it, this is the construction crew. They roll up to the freshly cleared site and get to work, laying down all the new bone material. And the best part? They rebuild it even stronger, perfectly adapted to handle whatever stress it was just put under.
Okay, so we've met the crew, but what's the trigger? What's the actual signal that tells the osteocytes, our little sensors, that it's go time? Let's talk about the spark of growth. The answer lies in a super cool scientific principle called piezoelectricity. It sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. Some materials, when you squeeze or bend them, actually generate a tiny electric charge. And what's amazing is that your bones are one of those materials.
Check this out. Every time your bones are put under stress, like when you run, jump, or even just stand up, they bend ever so slightly. And when they do, they create this tiny electrical signal. You can see one side becomes a little negative and the other becomes a little positive. This is the real deal physical mechanism your body uses to turn mechanical force into a biological message. It's awesome.
So let's just recap that chain reaction, the remodeling cascade. Step 1, you apply some kind of stress to the bone. Step 2, the bone uses its piezoelectric magic to generate an electric charge. Step 3, the osteocytes, our sensors, pick up on that charge. And boom, step 4, remodeling begins. The whole crew gets called into action. So simple, but so smart.
Okay, this is where things get really interesting, because it turns out not all stress is the same. The type of force you apply to a bone completely changes the signal it sends. This brings us to a crucial battle: tension versus compression. These are the 2 forces that really dictate bone growth.
Your bones can get stressed in all kinds of ways. You can squeeze them, pull them, twist them, but for what we're talking about today, we're going to focus on the big 2. Compression, which is a squeezing force, and tension, which is a pulling or stretching force. These 2 send totally different messages.
And here's the key difference, you guys. Tension signals for growth. It calls in the osteoblasts, the builders, and tells them, hey, build here.
But compression, it does the exact opposite. It signals for anti-growth. It activates the osteoclasts, the demolition crew, and tells them, start taking bone away. The very same process, but with completely opposite results depending on the force.
So what's the big takeaway here? It all boils down to this single, crucial point. When it comes to using bone remodeling for height growth, tension is the key. That's the signal you want to be sending. It's the primary driver.
Okay, the science is cool, for sure. But the real question is, how can you use this knowledge? Let's get practical and talk about applying the force.
So on one hand, you want to limit those anti-growth signals. That means cutting down on compression. So things like super heavy squats or deadlifts that really load up the spine might not be your best bet. And on a daily basis, it's about actively decompressing, stretching regularly, really focusing on good posture, and helping your muscles relax with things like massage or even just a hot bath.
And on the other hand, you want to crank up those growth signals by increasing tension. We're talking about dynamic stuff, like playing sports, where you're jumping and reaching. Using specific stretches that create that pulling force is huge. And again, maintaining good posture and even practicing deep breathing helps create that elongated state that your bones love.
So really, the bottom line is this. It's not random. You're not just a passenger here. By understanding these forces, you can actually influence the signals your skeleton is getting every single day. You can literally have a say in telling your body to either build new bone or clear out old bone. You're in the driver's seat.
And that really brings us to the final idea I want to leave you with. Your body is rebuilding itself constantly, every single day, responding to every little thing you do. Bone remodeling is just one incredible example of that. So knowing that you have this level of influence, that you can help direct the construction, the only question left is, what will you ask your body to build next?